Hello and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that won America's heart for 4 seasons, playing Vicky on TV's Small Wonder. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Dizzle from Stronghold Games. In Dizzle from Stronghold Games, 1 to 4 players are going to attempt to score the most victory points as they manipulate dice on kind of a crossword puzzle type board. Each player is going to get kind of a crossword puzzle type sheet of paper as well as a felt tip pen and many dice that they will both be using during this game. The first player will roll the dice, then you'll separate the dice into various numbers. Now the sheets of paper will have X's on them. So when you roll and separate the dice into their various numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you will be able to take one of those dice and place it anywhere next to one of those X's that has the pips on it that correspond to the pips on your dice. So you go ahead and you put the dice there, and then from that point forward, on your turn, you're going to take a dice and you're going to put it next to already placed dice. So you're going to be building out from those original X's onto the board. But you're going to encounter some different things as you move. First of all, there'll be gems, which will score you more points. So there'll be puzzle pieces that if you connect both of them, they will score points. There'll also be locks and keys. Essentially, you can't place a die on the lock until you already place a die on the key. Now, there will also be bombs. Essentially, if you build onto a bomb, you announce that you've activated a bomb. Since the player you're playing with has the same configuration of board that you have, they have to scribble out their bomb, which is going to be negative victory points for them. Now, if ever you get to a point where you cannot place one of the die because the die roll do not match any of your pips, you can go ahead and you can re-roll the die at that point to place them again. If at that point you still can't place any, you have to return one of your die to the pool. You essentially lose that die. But you go around and around trying to fill up as much as you can. Some of the rows and the columns are worth a lot of points too if you can completely fill in those entire rows and columns as well. So you're trying to do that as you're trying to get to these other high-scoring spaces on the board. And then as soon as you have played through a number of rounds, depending on the player count, you go ahead, you count up all of the points you scored with all of the X's you've crossed out on the pad, and whoever has the most points wins Dizzle. And that's just a brief overview of the game, but there's not a whole lot more to it. It's a pretty simple, pretty straightforward game. There's a few other little rules here and there. There's a few other icons that come in and out of the game that you can interact with, but essentially that is it. This is a very simple game, but there is a lot of competition here. There is a lot going on in this game. You are essentially, as I say, trying to gain the most points, but there is interaction. Of course, those bombs can screw people over, but there's kind of that you're taking a dice that someone else needs, and there's real kind of stress there. Oh, I hope he doesn't take that one. I hope he doesn't take that one. And then they do take that one, and you just want to clobber them. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty intense. Now, this is not my normal kind of game. This is very abstract. Obviously, it's just dice, and I'm not a big abstract game kind of guy, but I really actually enjoyed this one. I mean, I know I play a lot of these big epic games, which are my bread and butter, but once in a while a game like this really hits the spot because it's so light, it's so easy to learn, to teach, to play, but there's competition here, and there's some frustration here. It's a whole lot of fun. Recommendation for the discriminating gamer for Dizzle is buy it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer. And you know, kids, speaking of my Small Wonder days, a lot of people often ask me, was Harriet truly that annoying? Yes. Yes, she was.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going. Somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
First off, have you ever played Battleship?
Yes.
Yeah. Identical.